Good evening. My name is Liz Fischer, and I just wanted to say thank you so much, everybody, for attending our webinar this evening. We do have a lot of great information. So today we're going to be covering real estate investing and financial planning. This is going to be hosted by myself. I am a mortgage specialist in the real estate industry. And then we have Philip Board and Sabrina Cole. So we have a financial planner and a real estate professional. So a lot of great information this evening. Let me just go ahead and jump in and tell you a little bit about myself. We are going to also try to stay on time. If you have any questions as we move along, go ahead and put those in the chat and we will answer them as we can.
All right.
So again, my name is Liz Fischer, the Loan Lady. So I am just excited to be here with you. I love education. I love helping my clients build wealth through real estate. So I do know that owning a home is going to be one of the largest financial investments you're ever going to make. So it is important that you make sure your larger investments are working for you. So you want to align yourself with the right professionals. So just excited to bring this seminar to you this evening. And with that, I'm going to introduce Sabrina, who is amazing and has been in the business 20 years. So Sabrina, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, Liz. Thank you for having me today. I am the CEO and founder of the Sabrina Cole Group. I have been a realtor here in Foothill Communities for over 20 years. I don't know how that happens, but it's over 20 years. And I really just enjoy helping families buy and sell homes and just create wealth through the investment of real estate.
Awesome. So just so you know, we do have a report card. This is going to be a questionnaire. You will see this slide again. That has been emailed to you ahead of time. So if it's easier for you, you can fill it out via your email, or you can scan this QR code and it will take you to the questionnaire. So just wanted to bring that to you up front and let you know we will have it again at the end as well. Okay. So on our agenda today, we're going to go over, we've already done a little bit of our introductions. We're going to discuss real estate and equity. What are some of those differences? Some reinvestment strategies. We're going to discuss probate and trusts, tax benefits, and eldercare, and reverse mortgage or reverse purchase. So real estate, it is an asset. It's a valuable asset that allows you to store wealth, and it can become a source of income through renting, leasing, if you decide to do a reverse mortgage down the road. Primarily, it's impacted by the market and experiences different fluctuations depending on your location and supply and demand, economic and government policies. The difference between real estate and equity. So equity is going to be the difference between the market value of your home and the amount of loans you have out on it. So how much do you owe on your existing mortgage? It can grow as a homeowner makes mortgage payments. You will be reducing that balance and increasing your equity share. Also, as the market appreciates, you will gain equity. So we're going to jump into the different local counties and how we are projecting to see that equity build in the next coming 10 years. So we're going to start with Riverside County, and these are two different appreciation ideas. So you can either go based off of forecasted appreciation, or we could go based off of a historical forecast. So we are using the median sales price for Riverside County, which is around $565,000. This is assuming you were to get into a mortgage today with a rate of around 7%, just putting minimal down, so 3.5%. So in about 10 years, your equity position will be most likely over $400,000. So today we're going to be discussing, what do you do with that equity? That's a lot of money. And there are so many ways that we can reinvest that to continue to build wealth for not only ourselves, but our children and our grandchildren and just different generations. So you can see forecasted appreciation is around 5.38%. Based on historical values, it's at 5%. Again, for Riverside County. San Bernardino County, if you were to purchase a home around $600,000, your equity position in about 10 years, again, would be over $400,000. And you will see San Bernardino and Riverside County kind of mirror each other in their appreciation percentages. For LA County, the median sales price is going to be higher. You're looking at around $809,000 for purchasing. And again, if you were to do that as of today, let me go ahead and hold on one second. We have somebody joining. So you're looking at somewhere probably over about $800,000. Again, if you go off of forecasted appreciation, historical appreciation, $700,000. And then if we look at Orange County, the median sales price is actually much higher. We're at around $1,032,500, right in that area. So you should see anywhere between, it looks like almost $900,000 to slightly over $1 million in equity growth over the next 10 years. So our biggest question is, what is our investment strategy? Everyone's financial situation is going to be different. So the goal is really to maximize your equity in a way that works best for your situation. We can do that different ways. Some people may just want to stay in their mortgage and build as much equity as they can. So we'll discuss the way that you could maybe shorten the term of the loan and the total interest that you're going to be paying between, when you originate that loan, and let's just say your loan is for 30 years. You can use the equity to purchase a second property, an investment property, something of that nature. You could also use that equity to do upgrades or additions to your home and generate an additional rental income that way. Also, we're going to discuss reverse purchase. So Sabrina is going to speak to that, which people are not talking much about. So it's a great topic, and we're going to go into a lot of detail with that. So if you want more information on exactly how much equity you've already built in your home, then you're going to definitely want to schedule a consultation with myself or Sabrina, and then we can look into what investment strategy will work for you and your family. All right, so for example, if you were to get into a home today, and let's say the purchase price was around $700,000, and you put $21,000 down, and you're in a 30-year loan. So let's assume your rate's 7%, $700,000 purchase price. This is going to show you the differences in amortization and total interest paid over the entire term of the loan. So if you look at the top left over here, you'll see that if you just stay in that 30-year loan, you don't do anything to it, then in 30 years, you will have paid $947,000 in interest. In the second scenario, you can see if you started with the exact same loan, but you decided to just put $250 more a month towards your payment, then you would actually save over the entire term of your loan around $170,000, and you would reduce your loan term by 4 years. So that's pretty substantial when we're talking about, equity build and how we can maximize our wealth and, use it for different reinvestment strategies. In the same way, if you were to add, let's say $500 a month, again, starting with the exact same loan, you would take that original amount of interest of $947,000 And over the entire term, you would reduce that by $282,000, which is huge. So just with that $500 more a month, that's how much more money you're going to be putting in your pocket long term, and you can reduce it by about 8 years, give or take. So. All right, Sabrina, I'm going to pass it off to you so you can talk a little bit about what we can do with all of that equity we are now building in our home.
Wonderful, right? Well, second home, vacation home, shorter long-term investment properties. Any of these can be super fun. As you mentioned, Liz, I mean, we have seen just a tremendous amount of equity gain over the last, several years. I mean, well above average, right? So, and we're starting to see people use this to leverage, building wealth through real estate. So, and they're doing it through second homes, through vacation properties and short and long-term investment. I know that some short-term rentals, there's definitely different areas that have different rules and regulations now. So we always want to encourage people to make sure that they look into what that is, but it can be very profitable. Having a second home or vacation home, I mean, it can be an opportunity to really make some fabulous memories with your friends and family. And I think, as we're talking about building wealth and doing all these things, I think at the end of the day, it's really, also like, how does this help our families, right? Like together. So I think it can be a wonderful way, again, to make, memories with friends and family, but not only that, but maybe to earn additional monthly income, on the short and long-term rentals. We've got a client that bought a house out at the river, and he did rent it out, over the summer for a couple of years, and decided now he's just renting it short term. He's renting it 3 to 4 months for the snowbirds, and he's making an extra $25,000 a year. And then he's using it the rest of the year for his second home. So there's just a lot of things that you can do. I want to talk about like our local area, just our local resort area, Big Bear, Arrowhead, right there. Right now, there are 906 homes for sale up there. That's a lot of houses, and over 45% of those have had price reductions. So when we're talking about, is there any opportunity in today's market? There certainly is, and that could be an excellent, way to maybe start your real estate portfolio. If you're local, it's a nice, easy drive, right? You can actually make it an actual weekend getaway, where sometimes if you have vacation places and, a little bit further distances, there's a little bit more planning that goes in and that has to be involved. And this is just something that I think it's a good opportunity right here, it's right here, right now. So I think the other thing too to keep in mind is when you have a second home or vacation home or any of those, this becomes an asset for you, right? This is an additional asset. It's still continuing to earn equity. So it's a win-win, so it's going to be an asset for you to keep in the future and, possibly pass on to your heirs. I think it's a great opportunity. The multifamily living, right? So let's talk about this. So this is becoming extremely popular, and in some cases a necessity, right? Because affordability is just really unaffordable. There's a lack of affordability. And I'll tell you, National Association of Realtors has come out and said that the average first-time home buyer is 36 years old. I mean, that is really old. I was 22 when I bought my first house. I don't know that there's a lot of opportunity, at least here locally, for people to do that. So we're starting to see some kind of unique things happening with this multi-living or the ADUs. And there's a couple different ways that we see that. So there's the new track, or the new homes are called next gen homes. I don't know if you guys have heard of those or seen those, but it's really like a house within a house. So you've got your main house, which I'm calling the big house, and maybe the older children live there with their young kids, and then there's a separate entrance for maybe a 1-bedroom with another kitchen for maybe mom or dad living within the property. Those have become very popular, working with leveraging what people have, right? What assets they have. So those are very popular. The accessory dwelling units, or the ADUs, are extremely popular. And, Liz and I had this conversation about this, and this is a really interesting thing that we're seeing. We're seeing the ADUs being built for different reasons. So we're seeing parents that own a home that maybe have a larger property build an ADU because their kids can't afford to buy, right? So they're doing it for the kids. And then we're also seeing in turn where maybe the parent and the child are leveraging and buying a home with a larger piece of property. And now the parents are building the ADU, right? They're going to retire. They want to travel. They don't want to have all the maintenance of a property. I mean, there's just so many different things that we're seeing with this. And, you know, either way, if you build an ADU on a property, you've continued to, you will have equity and you'll have additional equity in the property just from building the ADU. So it's just another way to really leverage what we have to work with today and to continue to build the wealth through real estate. Oh, we're going back to a vacation. We knew we'd like that. Oh my gosh, reverse purchase. So this is so fun. I mean, fun. This is a really cool tool. This is something I think a lot of you guys have heard of, reverse mortgage. Well, that's when you stay in your property and you're just going to go ahead and, you know, borrow against your current property and you wouldn't have a mortgage. So this is a different tool. This is a reverse purchase. It is a reverse mortgage, but you're using it to purchase a home. So let's just say that you're in a home. And I always like to use the scenario, you're in a large home, maybe on a half acre, and the kids are grown, gone. You don't need all of that space. It doesn't fit the current lifestyle that you want right now. So what can you do? You can sell your home and you might be able to pay cash for a property. This will basically take the place of that for a couple of reasons. Number one, if you don't have the proceeds from the sale of your house, maybe to pay cash for a property that you'd want in an area that you'd want, right? Or maybe you want to keep some of your equity. So I want to talk about this scenario and then I'll go into a little bit more detail. So let's just say you sell your current home for $800,000. You have a small mortgage on it. So you walk away with about $600,000. Well, now you're looking at buying a home that's going to be better suitable to your needs. So maybe it's a single story. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's closer to friends or family or your grandkids or, you know, wherever it is. It looks different for different people. So we're looking at, say, well, you could pay cash at $700. I mean, you wouldn't in this scenario because you don't have enough, you know, proceeds. But if you use the reverse purchase tool, you would come in and you would pay approximately $420,000 and you would have no mortgage. What a wonderful thing. So now you've sold your property and eliminated your mortgage. So you have additional income coming in, right? Or you've lessened your debt burden, whichever one that would be, or both. The other thing that it does for you is it would put an additional $180,000 back in your pocket. And depending on what your lifestyle looks like when you retire, right? We hope that everybody goes to Philip and it makes, you know, your retirement is amazing, but if the income coming in is a little bit tighter when you retire, this really gives you some flexibility with being able to buy a property and not have to pay all cash or have a payment, because with this, you do not have a payment. I want to talk a little bit, we have down here icing on the cake, Prop 19. So for some of you, you may not realize Prop 19 is a great, it's great if you are over 55 and you sell your primary residence, whatever your current property tax base is, you're allowed to transfer it to your new property. So let's just say you sell your home for $800,000, but you bought it for $200,000. So your property taxes are probably relatively low, just say $2,000 or $3,000. Well, you are going to be able to move that into your new purchase here of your $700,000 purchase, right? So you're going to still have your low tax payment, your property tax payment, you know, anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000, where it would normally go up to at least $7,000 if you did this as a standard purchase. So this is a really, it's not for everyone, but it is really kind of a cool tool. And we're going to start to see this happen more and more for a couple of reasons. One, because affordability is just really tough right now. But the other thing is we have made so much equity in our property. We really have to now look at that as an asset. And like, what does that look like when we retire? Like we're looking at with our investments and the property, and how can we leverage that, you know, and just best suit our lifestyle.
Okay, and then I want to go ahead and introduce Philip. So he is going to jump on. He is absolutely amazing. Philip Board is MSFS and CFS and owner of One-on-One Financial and One-on-One Eldercare. So Philip, go ahead and jump in and take the mic.
Well, first of all, you can't hear me, right? Mic is working?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. I had my doubts. So, okay. MSFS, I have a master's in financial services. CFS is another designation I have, certified fund specialist. I have about 6 more, but there's just too much to put on the screen. So I have been doing this. I'm going to top you, Sabrina, 27 years.
All right.
And I don't know how that happened, but here I am. We're located right here in Upland, 11th and Mountain, and I'm sitting right on top of the vault at Citizens Business Bank. So if you hear me drilling, you know what I'm drilling for. So on the financial side, we help work with people. If you're thinking about selling a property and you're worried about tax issues, I can help with that. If you've got too much adjusted gross income and you want to lower your taxes, I can help with that. You want to look at increasing your retirement income, we can help with that. On the Eldercare side, that company evolved out of, we took over another company from an advisor that retired locally. And now that is a company that works with basically estate planning, placement as we age, and also as our health declines, we end up perhaps in a community where, whether it's assisted living or you want somebody to come to your house or even skilled nursing. And so we help with that decline and how to manage the assets through that, because you might suddenly find yourself, instead of doing the reverse purchase that Sabrina just said, you might doing a sale and figure out how to pay for your care. Either all of those things. So we've worked with Sabrina quite a bit on some of our clients that are in that position. So with that, next slide. All right. So selling investment property, you've got a couple of different options for it. One might be that you buy a like-for-like property in a 1031 exchange. A 1031 exchange would be that you sell, let's say you bought your first house was a condo. You owned it forever, you rented it out, and now you've decided to sell it. It's not your primary residence anymore. It doesn't mean to say you have to buy another condo. You could buy a duplex. You could buy into an industrial building if that's what you like, or another single family home, could be in a different state. So you can do that as well. In considering capital gains, I'm assuming that everyone on this call is in California. Capital gains work out to be about 15 to 20% federally, followed by another 13 plus Obamacare tax. It works out to be a total of about 38% tax on capital gains. So you need to plan for that. But what I found is, if let's say you bought a house for $100,000 and it's now worth $500,000, you've owned it for years, and now you've got this $400,000 capital gain, but you've owned it for 30 years. Well, you might find that it's arguable that you put $10,000 a year into maintaining that home. 30 years times $10,000, well, that's $300,000, but you paid $100 for it. So there's still, that's $400. You've still got $100,000 left over at the top to pay capital gains on. Well, the good news is the first $89,000 in capital gains you can avoid, because it's written in the tax code. If you're married, it's $89,000. If you're single, it's $45,000. So in this case scenario, you only pay capital gains on around $10,000. So that's something that can consider with that as well. Taxation if you die. So the nice thing about real estate currently, and I say currently because it could change, but I don't think so, is that you get something called stepped up in basis. So in the prior scenario, you bought that house for, let's say the house you're living in, you bought it for $200,000. 40 years later, you're living in Claremont and you're sitting on 1.4 million. Oh my gosh, there's way too much tax. What's going to happen to this when my kids get it? There will be zero tax. It will be stepped up in basis. So even though you bought it for a couple of hundred, now it's worth 1.4. Upon your passing, your kids will inherit it at $1.4 million. So they can choose to keep it. Nothing happens. But they get to keep their Prop 19, correct me if I'm wrong, Sabrina. So they could, if they wanted to live in it, keep their taxes low. However, if they want to sell it because you've got children that get along really well while you're alive, but perhaps not when you're not alive,
Yeah.
which I have seen before, maybe they all just want to take the money and run. Well, if they sell it within 6 months of you passing, then they can either choose the valuation at date of death or 6 months after, whichever is in their benefit, and still pay no taxes on that piece of real estate. And that could be whether it's your personal home or an investment property, regardless of what it is. So that's kind of a nice feature about real estate. It's a really great investment from a tax perspective. If you do have taxes due on a piece of real estate, there's things that we can do to offset that. Let's say you don't want to become a landlord again. We do offer programs where we group you with other people, and we might be able to buy you a little bit of an Amazon warehouse. Comes with some restrictions, and if I tell you what it is, you've all got to swear that you're worth at least $1 million, excluding your home. But otherwise, I never said that. So there's that. Or we can use investments where we give you depreciation to offset the capital gain. And that's a different kind of investment. And it's for, again, people that are worth $1 million or more, accredited investors. But that's something that we could look at on an individual basis. So there are plenty of options out there. If you're looking to sell a piece of real estate and not go back in, we can work with you. If you're looking to sell and buy real estate, we can work with you. And I say we as in everyone on this Zoom. So with that, lots and lots of options. And I don't remember the next slide. Let's see. Oh, okay. Trusts. So one of the credentials that I don't put on my card is one that I have a certification in estate planning. And what that means is I'm really dangerous and I know a lot about estate planning. I don't practice law, but it's a passion of mine, and I really, really like it. We've actually paired with a local attorney here. Well, we help facilitate getting people set up with trusts. But why would you need one? It used to be when I got in the business that you bought a trust because you were worried about estate taxes. Well, currently the estate tax exclusion amount is $11 million per person. And if you have a trust, it jumps up to $22 million. That is set to change, and it will sunset down to $5 million in about 1.5 years from now. That's written in the law. So if you're worth more than that, then we need to do some planning now. But if you're worth less than that, then you can just get a living trust. And what it'll do is let your loved ones be in control of your assets when you need them to and how you need them to. So if you become incapacitated, they can act as you using powers of attorney. Once you pass away, the trust becomes the document that will allow them to sell that house. If you don't have a trust, probate kicks in. You think, well, I don't care. We'll just go with probate. Well, on the $1.4 million home that we just talked about, 6% of that will be well into $80,000 that your kids will have to pay, not the realtor for selling it, but to the judge, excuse me, not the judge, some lawyer you don't even know will take that $80,000 just to allow your kids to sell it. Or you could spend a couple of $1,000s getting a trust with some great powers of attorney, and you completely eliminate that. Probate is a very public affair. They actually publish information about, hey, so-and-so passed away. Does anyone out there think they owe them money? And they can say yes, and a judge can decide if their claim for your assets is valuable. So if you don't have a trust, I'd highly recommend you get one. It puts the right people in charge of your affairs, whether you're living and incapacitated or if you pass away. And this also helps them make decisions on your behalf. For instance, have you ever talked to them about whether you want a casket or cremation. Now, my wife doesn't like worms. She's like, you're cremating me. So I don't know why that matters when you're dead, but the thought of that is an issue for her. So it's something that we've talked about, and it's in our trust. On the elder care side, powers of attorney are incredibly powerful as you age. It would allow your children to make decisions for you about keeping you in the right place and the right level of care, whether you have capacity to do so or not. So with that, I did see a chat there from Kurt. Yes, we can help you get a trust. We actually do the intake here in the office, and then we send it over to our attorney partner here in Claremont, where she will interview you about your desires and see if what we've written down is what you understood was what you're intended. And then that trust is document is produced. It comes to our office, and we have 2 notaries on staff to deliver that for you. So it's a nice, easy one-stop shop where we can get that done for you. So I hope that answers your question, Kurt. And if that's something you're interested in, we'd love to get an appointment with you. So what else do we have? Next slide. Liz took off. I'm going to have to ad-lib for a moment. There we go.
There we go.
So general types of trust, you have revocable, which is your standard living trust. That's what most people have. You could use an irrevocable trust if you're looking to protect, like if you're over $5 million in assets and you want to protect some, we would use an irrevocable trust, a grantor trust, or perhaps a dynasty trust to protect those assets from estate taxes. So definitely something we can do. For a revocable living trust, the general cost is around $2,500, and that includes 2 powers of attorney, one both durable, which is your financial, and your your health care, which is obviously for healthcare decisions. That's for each person, and also any pour over wills. So that's something that I think is tremendous value. If you have a trust that's over 5 years old, we recommend that you go through and update it. The reason being, in the last 5 years, there's been a lot of changes in estate tax law in terms of what your powers of attorney can do for you. Anymore, banks are looking for a reason to say no. And if your powers of attorney aren't up to date enough, then chances are no is the answer. A good up-to-date power of attorney will allow your children or your assigned trustees to make decisions on your behalf to protect your assets when that time comes. And that's something that we would address on a individual by individual basis. So next slide, please. Oh boy, Eldercare. So here's something for you. All right, Eldercare number 1. And the ladies here don't even know this. This is so new and fresh. It's all kind of scary. We have a new tax coming for us all here in California. I'll get to that. Not always something I like to lead with, but it is what it is. So number 1 problem with getting old is that sooner or later, we're going to need help. I know, wrinkles, that's an issue. Lack of hair, other issue. But besides those, just getting old in general, we become infirm, and it's different for everybody, whether we need some help getting out of bed, or maybe somebody doing the grocery shopping or laundry or what have you. It starts there. Generally, what happens is we rely on one of our children. Children, we're going to take advantage of that. Well, I would say don't, because the chances are it's an oldest daughter that comes out of the workforce, or a daughter, and probably she left the workforce to raise children. So her Social Security is already smaller than perhaps her spouse, or what it could have been had she not had children. And here she is, she's finally back at work. She's an empty nester. And lo and behold, you're knocking on her door. Come on in, I need some help. So now she leaves the workforce again. In doing so, she's leaving a job when she's in her highest earning years, when she's putting the most amount into her Social Security that will give her the most amount of income later. She's also probably putting the most amount into her 401k, again, that will give her the most amount of income. When she comes out of the workforce, you are now limiting what she gets in terms of retirement income, both in Social Security and what she can withdraw from her 401k. There was a survey done in October of last year. 13,000 people were interviewed. 96% of them were a daughter, and 98% of them never went back to the same job for the same pay ever. So it is a lifetime financial commitment that that daughter is taking for you. So I would say, don't. Let's look at other things. So there are many types of home care. There's many types of care. Some of them are in the home, and they can be as simple as we need, just like we have a cleaning lady. Anyone have a cleaning lady right now? Wait a minute. There you go. Thank you. Own up to it. I have a wife and 2 daughters at home. So arguably my wife says no. They're learning how to do chores. They're calling it a learning opportunity. We do not have a cleaning lady, but my kids will be popular in college because they know how to cook, clean, and do laundry. So anyway, so it could be as simple as just someone coming by to clean the house, right? Maybe you need some groceries, do some laundry for you. It starts there. And then it might get a step further where, well, I'm kind of having trouble getting out of bed or ambulating or needing to bathe. So the level of care goes up. And with each one of those, there's a different level of care. The person that you would hire to clean your home is not the person that you would hire to come and help you get out of bed or maybe bathe you. With that comes an increased level of cost. Beyond that, you might say, okay, I'm ready to give up my house. And I know for a lot of people, when giving up a house, the kids look at it like, have you seen my mom's house? There's so much stuff in there. I don't know what to do with it. The good news is Sabrina knows people. They will come out, they will clean out the house, do an estate sale, and lo and behold, the house gets sold and what have you. And if work needs done, she knows people that does that as well to maximize value. Meanwhile, you get to choose where you want to live. Not only am I an owner of One-on-One Eldercare, I'm also a client. In March of this year, we rehoused my mother-in-law. She lives just over here in Claremont, and she now has a nice 1-bedroom apartment. She moved in with her 2 little dogs. And now when she wants to, she can go down to the dining room and have food there, or she can cook a little bit of food in her room if she doesn't want to be social. She gets to play bingo if she chooses, or participate in the ice cream social, or she can get in her car and drive over my house because I'm a better cook, arguably. So, she can come and go as she pleases. We actually used the service to do an estate sale in her house, working with contractors to upgrade the house and selling it. And the proceeds of the house are now paying for her care in assisted living. She has no need for assisted living. For her, she was lonely. And we wanted to make sure that when she didn't answer her phone, it was because she forgot to charge it, not because something bad happened. So it's reduced the stress between my wife, her daughter, and her. So we're using that as well. And there are other types of care, skilled nursing care, palliative care, hospice care. If you want to know what any of those are, we have a specialist on staff. Her name's Belinda, and she'll be more than happy to go through that. So if you know anybody that's facing challenges living at home and are worried about, I don't know how I'm going to pay for it, this team that you're looking at right here, plus others that are not here on the call, we have everything we need to take care of them and make sure they get the care they need. So if you need that, this is where you call. So paying for long-term care, hang on, back up. When I'm not done, this is new stuff. So we used to do something for Medi-Cal planning where we would gift money to reduce assets to make sure that we could get skilled nursing care paid for. At the end of this year, the asset limit for that goes away. You can have as much money as you like and go into a skilled nursing care. and your cost of care would be minimal. Rather than $15,000 or $20,000 a month, it might be $2,000. And when this was announced by Medi-Cal, I thought to myself, you guys are nuts. How on earth are you going to pay for all these people doing that? Last week, I figured out how. In Washington State last year, they now have a new mandate. Just like here in California, we are mandated to have health insurance. We are mandated to have auto insurance. Guess what's coming down the pike? We're going to get mandated to have long-term care. I guarantee you there will be no obstruction politically when this gets voted upon because, well, we've already got all the other mandated insurances. And if you don't buy your own policy, they're going to tax you. In Washington, it's 3%. So if you make $100,000, you now have a new $3,000 a year tax bill, and it will come out of your payroll tax. It is not something you get to have a choice on unless you can prove you have coverage. I would imagine they'll come out with something like Covered California and stick it in there. But I would also imagine the long-term care communities that you get to get into on that are not on the top of your list. In fact, it might not be the, not even Motel 6. It might be the Roach Motel. Who knows? I'm just saying it's coming. It's here. It's not public yet. We are getting up to speed on this. So if you want to look at long-term care for yourself to make sure that when it comes to maybe paying your whoever to come into your home or staying in your home, you've got a way to pay for it. So brand new, just sprung it on the ladies here. It's on its way. It might not happen next year, but for 2025, I think it might. So why estate planning is important. So I had a lady come in, I took over this book of business a while ago. And this, in order for them to move their assets to our firm, they have to sign paperwork. And this couple came in, the man looked all of 80 years old, and he came in, but he had his Apple Watch on, he had his iPad in his hand, and was retired engineer. The wife looked much younger, beautiful lady. We're sitting down, they agree to move the accounts. I put the paperwork in front of them. He signs it. I hand the pen to her. She signs her name the first time. She goes, "Oh, this is a nice pen. Whose pen is this?" I said, "Oh, you're welcome to keep it. I give them to all of my clients." Turn the page, she signs again, and she says, "This is a nice pen. Whose pen is this?" I raised an eyebrow. Third time, signed her name. "Whose pen is this? This is a really nice pen." I looked at the husband. I said, "You have power of attorney over her, correct?" He goes, "No, she'll do anything I tell her to do." I said, "Yeah, but what if you die first?" And he turned as white as a sheet. He never in a moment thought that that would be the scenario. Because if he dies first, she's running around town in charge of all of his money. And he knew on that iPad, he knew what day his Social Security was paid, what dividends on what day and how much. He had everything mapped out. He knew down to the penny and the day. And she was completely out of her mind. So we sent her out. We sent them out to an estate planning partner, an estate partner of ours. And after several months, they got the document signed. She had a lucid day and they were able to get it notarized. They called us up. They booked an appointment with us because now he had the documents in place and we needed to put the after-tax accounts, the brokerage accounts, into the name of the trust. They booked it for the following week. Well, Monday comes around, Tuesday, I think it was, we got the phone call and it's the son. And anytime we get a call from a child instead of the parent, it's never a good call. And in this case, the son said, "Oh my gosh, Dad died over the weekend. He's left me a mess." We told him, "Don't panic, get the death certificate, come in and see us. We can get this done." Using the power of attorney that was now in force because of how it was drawn up, the son was able to sign as mom, it said son, power of attorney over mom, trustee of the family estate. And we funded that trust. We got the house in the name of the trust. We got all the accounts in the name of the trust and put him in complete control without having to go to probate court, or even worse, getting conservatorship. People throw that around like, oh, I can get conservatorship. No, you don't want that. You really, really don't want that, because that means a judge and an attorney are now making decisions about your loved one financially and for their own health. So conservatorship is a place of last resort. And if you want something good to watch, there's a mini series about Britney Spears, Britney versus Spears. If you haven't watched it, it really tears apart the conservatorship. Anyway, next one. Oh, this is another client of ours. They were told they need estate planning, and I sent them home with the form, and they never did anything. Fast forward, we sent out a letter about our one-on-one elder company, and she calls up and she's, oh, I'd like to learn more about that. Turns out that they never did any planning, and in the packet of paperwork we asked for, sitting right on top, was that intake document. They never did anything with it. Well, the reason she called was her husband had full-blown Alzheimer's, didn't even know who she was, and he was a little bit combative. So they had to move him into a nursing care with lockdown because he had health issues as well. And it was $15,000 a month. And in this case, they said, what do we do? Well, they had a house that was paid for. And she had a small IRA, and now they finally confessed to me years after the fact that he had $600,000 at his old 401k. Well, she was beneficiary on it, but that was it. She said, well, how am I going to pay this $15,000 a month? Well, she had a small IRA and they had some money in the bank. What it turned out that her choices were, because she didn't have POA, she couldn't do reverse mortgage because he had to sign. They couldn't sell the house. He had to sign. Couldn't refinance the house. He had to sign. Couldn't draw money out of his old 401k. He had to sign. In no capacity did he have the ability to do any of that. All she was left with was that she could drain her checking account, which was only 2 or 3 months worth of money. They were living only on Social Security, and then drain her IRA, and that was it. So her choice was to go broke, living in the house, and become destitute, or hope her husband passed soon. And I don't want anyone on this call, this Zoom, to have that decision be their decision to make, because neither one is good. Unfortunately, emotionally, unfortunately, financially, fortunately, he passed away after about 4 months. And we got them a trust, after he passed away, we got a trust for her that put her son in control if something happened to her. And we're able to get that 401k put in her name because she was a beneficiary. Now he's passed away, she could do all of this stuff. So now all the options are open to her, but she doesn't need them. So having that trust in place will allow her son to do that planning for her moving forward. So not to depress everybody, but that's trust and estate planning is important. If you don't have one, get one. If you don't want to work with us, that's fine. Work with someone else, but get one. So next steps. Sabrina, what should they do?
I'm sorry, I had to unmute me. Well, you know what? There's a lot of different things that we talked about. And I think that, you guys absolutely can reach out to us and we will, expand upon all of the topics that we talked about. But, we're all here to help you guys in any capacity. You know, we say getting older gets really complicated. You know, from my side, I want to make sure that everybody can live the best life that they can. And I know Liz and Philip too, the elder care portion, we know we all are going to get there, right? But in the meantime, we want to continue to live the best life that we can. And, you know, we're here. So you just need to reach out and contact any of us and we can get back to you and set an appointment.
Absolutely. And I know, Liz, depending on how you use the equity, I know if you do a refinance, there's some costs involved. What costs are associated with doing a reverse mortgage or that reverse purchase option? Can you ladies talk to that?
Yeah, there's always going to be cost to financing, right? But the cost benefit is, I mean, and we illustrated it, I think, with just the opportunities to continue to build wealth with either an investment property or, you know, building that ADU and your quality of life that we spoke to over and over again. I think that the cost benefit is, it just makes the cost of the actual financing so minimal. You know, if you're wanting, you can do a home equity line of credit, you can do, you know, a cash out refinance, and the cost is small. You know, it's not the same as going in and purchasing a home. So I would just say, like, just to kind of circle back from where we started, everybody's situation is going to be different. That's why it's so important to, you know, schedule a consultation with a specialist in the industry. That's why we have this call today with, you know, different specialists, different perspectives to really get you guys set on a path to be able to build wealth, manage that wealth, and protect it long term. So I think we can all speak to the fact that, you know, we're really passionate about it. It's something that people don't think about. You know, it is scary. We don't want to have those conversations, right, Philip? But I did see, you know, that Netflix series about conservatorship, and it is ugly, right? So you know, just real estate is one of the best ways to build wealth. It's the best way to change your story and change the lives of, you know, your generations to come, especially if you're starting in, you know, a lower or middle class family. How do you build wealth? You do it in real estate. I mean, look at Trump, right? So we're just really passionate about it, and we want you guys to look at different options and see what's going to work best.
Agreed. So if I may, in working with the three of us, and know that behind me, and we've been doing this a long time, I've got two elder care specialists in the office, Leslie and Belinda, who I know Liz and Sabrina have both met. Huge resource. My background in estate planning, tax mitigation from a capital gains perspective, having the level of this team involved in anything you do is huge. And now with this pending long-term care, I did find out recently that most people think, oh, I'm too old to buy long-term care, or I have issues, so I can't get long-term care. I found out recently that there are products out there where if you have issues, we can actually get you underwritten while you need long-term care, which is, in my mind, a mind blow, but we have that available now. So this isn't one of those things where I'm too old for that, or it's too expensive because I'm too young, or whatever the case may be. It's really surprising what we can do out there, and utilizing some of the downside strategies. If you got $180,000 left over on that reverse purchase option, now you can buy some asset-based long-term care that's going to protect you the rest of your life, and you will never have to have care outside of your home. So lo and behold, you just had your cake. You said the icing on the cake? That was 19. Well, this is the icing on the cake, and you get to eat your cake too. So the cake theme. One of us must be hungry. With that, any questions from the audience? Oh, wrong way.
You can unmute yourselves if you'd like.
comments, applause.
And we do have a report card, so I did email that to
Thank you, Denise.
I did email it to you, or you can scan the QR code, whatever's easiest for you. And that's just a little bit more information. So we just want to make sure you're on the right path. It's going to answer some of the questions that we spoke to today. And then if you want us to reach out, we will. So if you could just fill that out for us, we would really appreciate it. It also allows us to have feedback for our next seminar. And we do ask that if you found the information valuable, feel free to share our information and let us know. You know, we'd love to have you guys again. And I know Sabrina and Philip, we had talked about probably in the fall. We do not have an exact date, but we do look forward to maybe doing like a whole day seminar, right, Sabrina? So keep an eye out for that. We'll make sure you get invited.
Yeah. I just want to mention, Vicky is on here from Texas, so thanks for being here.
Wow.
And I know Denise is coming up from our resort town in Big Bear.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for coming. Thank you, Vicky. Appreciate you. I know it's a lot. Vicky, what time is it there? 10?
Yeah, 9 o'clock. It's not too bad.
Okay, good.
All right.
So here's our contact information. If you guys have any questions, let us know. We will stay on until everybody drops off. But thank you so much for spending your time with us. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for listening.
All right.